It has appeared to me that there is one player that the NBA is never going to let win the Most Valuable Player of the Year award, even though for the past 3 to 4 years he's been deserving of the award. I'm not one to just come out and say that someone not being able to win an award is unfair, but I feel like we're at the point now where Giannis is just being straight up disrespected. And I can make all the videos in the world talking about Giannis is disrespected for this reason and that reason, but it's gotten to a point where we have so much evidence showing that he is better than every other person in the world. Yeah, you got people like Jimmy High Roller making a video talking about Luka Doncic is the best player in the world. Then you got other people saying it's Nikola Jokic. And this is no disrespect to those other players. They are all great players and I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But the amount of shit I've heard about Giannis in the past couple weeks, not even just past couple weeks, his entire career has been crazy. So I want to show you guys why Giannis should not only win the MVP, but it's finally time we start putting some respect on his name. So real quick, let's just show where Giannis is actually at in the MVP rankings. According to NBA.com, Giannis is number 4, which by the way, he technically dropped because I believe last week he was number 3. But it gets worse because according to Vegas odds, this man has dropped down to number 5. This man has people like Jason Tatum in front of Giannis. And no disrespect to Jason Tatum, this man is not an actual MVP candidate. The only reason he is even there is because of his team's record. And if you're someone that says that Jason Tatum should win MVP this year, then Devin Booker should have got that shit in 2022. But nevertheless, that's not the point. The point is that Giannis is currently in number 5 right now. And from the way I see the way he's being talked about, I doubt he's going to move up anymore. So now I just want to point out some things that Giannis is doing this year that the media or really anyone isn't going to talk about. So number 1, I want to point out the fact that Giannis is currently 4-1 versus MVP candidates when he plays them in games. And his stats are absolutely insane. He's averaging 36, 14, 6, 2, and 1. Not to mention he is doing this on 69, 45, and 59 shooting splits. These are almost unheard of when it comes to Giannis. And mind you, this is versus MVP candidates, and I'm talking about guys like Jokic, Luka, and Shea. Some MVP candidates will play bad teams, and that's when they have their best games. For example, Joel Embiid, but y'all didn't hear that from me. But Giannis, on the other hand, he has some of his best performances versus some of the best players in the league. Yet nobody is talking about this. I think Embiid did this last year. He had something similar, and it was like, oh my god, look at what he's doing. Yet Giannis does it, and no one discusses it. Something that I think is equally impressive is that Giannis is able to do the stuff that he's doing without his best teammates on the court. An interesting stat I saw was from someone by the name of Alex Sage, where he pointed out the top 3 MVP candidates and the percentage of their minutes on the court with their best teammates. Now, this might just look like a bunch of numbers and percentages, but this is what it tells me. The fact that Giannis is usually on the court with his best teammates for around 20% of the time and he's still doing what he's doing is impressive. He's not getting carried by other players. He's not relying on other people to help him statistically. He's doing a lot of this by himself, and I truly believe he is the main reason Milwaukee has done well this year. Because during the offseason, we all said, oh guys, look, Damian Lillard's coming to the team. Surely they're gonna do great. And to be fair, the Bucks this season are doing great. They're currently the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference right now. And the 1st seeded Boston Celtics are quite frankly the best team in the NBA right now as far as standings go. But we can all admit with the fact that the Bucks have been dealing with a lot of injuries this year, their bench is not the best compared to other seasons. And the fact that Damian Lillard has gone through constant slumps during the entire year, it's interesting they're at where they're at. But I'm not going to deny that Giannis isn't the biggest reason for this. I mean, if Giannis was having a bad year and Dame was doing good, I don't think they would be this good. However, Giannis is the most important player on this team. Also, a little fun fact you probably didn't know, Giannis is the first player in NBA history to average over 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists per game on 60% shooting from the field. Yeah, you want to tell me this man isn't even in the conversation? I don't want this to be seen as a Giannis is my MVP video, even though my opinion has been changing throughout the entire year, because I actually plan on announcing who my MVP is and who NBA YouTube's MVP is. And if you made it this far into the video, you got a little sneak peek on what's going on for the channel. But regardless, I'm not saying that if I was in the media, I'm gonna vote for Giannis. And that's not me saying I'm not gonna vote for him, but it's just kind of crazy we can't at least talk about him in the conversation. Like, you mean to tell me that Giannis can't even be considered a favorite, like, at all? Like, I don't know, it's something about the way he's been talked about and the way that we're just completely ignoring the greatness he has done every single year. It just makes no sense. Like last year, for example, Jokic and Embiid, everyone knew that Jokic had a good chance to win the award, and the discourse between Joel Embiid and Jokic was pretty fair for the most part. It was only at the end of the season when Jokic low-key started to struggle and the conversation about racism was brought into play. That's honestly the only reason why I think think they finally caved in and gave it to Embiid. But look, now that Embiid is injured and there's no way he can win the award, Jokic looks like he's gonna win it once again. Either him or Shea or even Luka possibly. But yet we're not saying, yo, what about Giannis? Shouldn't we consider him to win the award? No, because the goalpost is constantly moving. There's been so many goalposts for the MVP award over the past couple years and I don't understand it. First it was, hey, you gotta have a good team, which I think that's fair. I don't want my MVP being a 6, 7, or 8 seed and barely making the playoffs. I want them to be on one of the best teams in the league. My standard has always and will probably always be at least a top 3 seed minimum. Anything below that I don't think is necessarily MVP level unless we can justify it, say due to injuries or just some misunderstandings. I don't know. And then there was certain stats that you had to have. You had to be averaging this much points, this much assists. Like, it wasn't really set. But obviously every MVP needs to be averaging pretty good stats. So how are Giannis' stats this year? So about 31, 11, and 6 while shooting 61% from the field. I just want to point out the fact that he is the second best scorer in the league this year. He is top 6 in rebounds and he's number 14 in assists. Mind you, this guy is a big man being in the top 15 in assist numbers. I just thought you'd want to know that. Also, in case if you wondered, he's in the top 10 in field goal percentage at number 7. Also, I feel like I'm glossing over the fact that he is the second leading scorer in the league right now behind Luka Doncic. So what is this video even about? Why did I make a video saying Giannis will never win MVP again? Because I know what the comment section is gonna say about this. I know they're gonna say, oh, this is clickbait, or oh, he's not gonna win it for A, B, C, and D. But then I'm gonna respond to you saying the reason why I say this is because the media has rarely given this guy his flowers. Do you guys remember in the NBA Finals, Suns vs Bucks, when they said that Chris Middleton was the Batman and Giannis was Robin? We all saw that as the media just trying to discredit this man, saying he's the second option, which we all know isn't true. And then they said that Giannis only did well due to injuries. And unfortunately, that narrative kept going after the following season they lost. And in 2023, when the playoffs ended the way they did, the discourse only got worse. The unfortunate reality is that the media is going to base it off Giannis's past playoff experience. Yet I thought the MVP was a regular season award. I mean, the whole premise of it is a regular season award. So we give it to Joel Embiid. Fine, that's fair. But are we gonna judge him in his past playoff experiences? I mean, in that specific year, he struggled in the playoffs again. So we couldn't possibly give it to Embiid, right? Jokic has had his fair share of bad moments in the playoffs, but you gave him the MVP a couple times. No, I don't agree with that because it's absolute bullshit. We should not judge someone based off the playoffs. And if you're going to do that, that's fine, but make that the criteria. Do not change the goalposts for other players to fit your fucking narratives. Do not say, oh, Giannis can't win MVP for this reason this year, and the following reason it's another reason. Be consistent for why he can't win it, or at least be considered. I cannot tell you the last time Giannis was actually considered to win the award. Honestly, it's disrespectful to Giannis, and it's just making me realize that the whole MVP discourse and conversation pisses me off because we're not giving it to the best player in the league. I mean, to be fair, that's never what the award was, because if the MVP was actually the best player in the world, then Michael Jordan would have over 10 MVPs probably. Then LeBron would have a lot more MVPs and all these other different things. You get what I'm trying to say. So in conclusion, I just want you to know, if you're a Bucks fan, if you're a Giannis fan, do not be upset at the fact that Giannis is not going to win MVP this year. Don't be upset at the fact that next year he's probably not going to win it, and even years after. Only way I see this man winning MVP is if this man averages either A, over 40 points per game, or B, some injuries happen and they're forced to give it to him. But don't make it seem like that's a fraudulent MVP, because we all damn well know that Giannis deserves his flowers. I don't know, as a Giannis fan, it pisses me off, and I genuinely hope this man gets the respect he deserves. Because remember last year he said he was coming for vengeance in the playoffs? Well, I'm checking my watch right now. The playoffs are in less than a month. Giannis, I hope you fucking delivered, because I'm ready, and I think everyone else is as well.